everybody, it's me with Ashton with Happy Bee Artistry, and this is my little friend Bindi. She might be in and out of the video. I just had to restart recording because someone decided it was prime belly time. Oh, decided it was prime belly rub time. But it is not. So first off, we're just gonna go over what we're knitting in the video. I already have one of them done, so I can show you. This is the Colorwork Cuff Club by Summerly Knits. This is the March pattern. That's the color work on there. And I'm using Silly Socks Disco by Hobie. And I'm like gonna have a ton of extra yarn. So that's nice, I guess. I just finished the color work on this sock. So I'm just gonna finish doing the length for the leg of the sock. And my goal is to get the leg, the heel, and the turn. Which is quite ambitious, but I'm down for it. I'm trying to get this sock done this week so I can start wearing them because they're quite summery socks and I want to wear them in the summer. And it is May, so about summertime. I will say about this yarn, it is not as soft as my other socks, which I knit out of Drops Nord. This is, let's see my mixture in here. 75% wool, 25% polymade. And it is considered a super fine yarn, or a #1 yarn on the label. But it is a little bit more scratchy. I haven't washed or blocked these yet, obviously, so it could potentially get softer. It probably will get softer, but as of right now, it is a little scratchy. But I'm sure they'll get plenty of use still, so I'm not too worried about it. They aren't like horrendously terrible, but just keep that in mind if you're looking for like a super soft sock. I don't know if I would recommend this yet. I would have to check in after I have washed and blocked them to really know. But both the pink and the yellow are Silly Socks Disco, and then the white is just a random sock yarn that I had laying around, which is, I think, Troy yarn. I love Angora. It is mostly acrylic, I believe, but I was only going to use it for accents on socks because it would be like super hot for your feet considering how much acrylic it is. And also, who wants like whites? If I'm going to knit socks, they're not going to be just white because one, it's going to get dirty and show wear a lot easier. And two, you can buy white socks and yeah, but I've been having a ton of fun sock knitting. I think it's the perfect knit, especially for summer because I'm not having like a big old giant piece of fabric across me. I just have this like tiny needles. These are ChowGoo mini twist shorties, I believe. The one in the red bag. This is what the needles I'm using right now. And then for the heel and the heel turn, I switched to longer 2.5mm needles. And for the toe, I also switched for the longer needles as well. But it's, I believe you could technically do a full sock. I don't know. But I do 90% of my sock with this, and then I'll switch over for those. And I think the other one, my other needle that I use is just a needle I got from Michael's for cheap. I don't have any interchangeable needles yet, but it is on my wish list. We'll get there one day. But I did just get some longer fixed needles, just a big set of them on Amazon, because I can't currently afford interchangeable needles, but I can spend $15 on some just a set of fixed needles. So I'm excited to do a my first big project. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do yet. I'm thinking some sort of shirt or tank top, but I'm also kind of nervous because all the yarn that I have in bigger quantities is acrylic, and I have pots, so if I get too hot, I pass out. I have really bad heat sensitivity, so I'm gonna have to dig around my stash and see if I have anything cotton or linen or something lighter than acrylic, because it's gonna be too hot for a summer piece of clothing. I could potentially do a sweater in acrylic. The main reason I have so much acrylic is because I started off crocheting, and that was my favorite thing to crochet amigurumi with. I'm not a big, huge plush yarn fan. It drives me nuts. It's really hard to work with, at least in the crochet world. I have not tried to work with it in knitting. I don't really have a desire to work with it in knitting. And I don't really see people using like the chenille yarns for knitting anyways, so I don't know, maybe I'll try it out. I have like one velvet yarn in there that could be okay for like a brunette baby velvet, something, I don't know, that might be pretty. I think I have a purple and a green that are in there, so maybe I'll try something with that, but that's definitely more of a winter thing. That would be probably way too hot. So, and I don't know, I'll have to discover. I'll do some more research and kind of figure out a pattern that I'm wanting to do for my first bigger project, and we'll go from there and pick out some yarn and whatnot. Another thing is the pattern I discovered, the pattern of the week that I'm not currently knitting, but a pattern I discovered that I want to knit, is the Sophie Scarf hood version. I saw someone knit one, and I was like, that is beautiful and perfect. Like, it's so cute. So that is on my list of to-dos, is the Sophie Scarf hood version. I will say I'm not gonna knit that for a while, just because that is more of a winter item, and I want to do something more summer and springy so I can wear it now. But my coats that I have don't have hoods on them, which is kind of stupid. So it would be perfect to have a hood scarf combo. That's super cute, and hopefully I'll find a yarn that goes good with my coats. I have a pink coat and a brown coat, so I'll have to pick a yarn that goes with one of those coats that I wear regularly in the winter. But I'm excited. I live in Idaho, so I should get quite a bit of use out of it once it is colder. Of course, I start like seriously knitting the second it gets warmer, and I started knitting back in October-ish, a little bit before October, probably September-ish, I would say I started knitting seriously for the first time. Not even technically that serious, but like actually trying to create something with knitting. Previously I had learned knitting, but I didn't really know how to knit. It was just like I did a bunch of like half scarves, but the yarn I kept using like kept getting tangled, and I would get frustrated and quit. So I never actually like completed a project in knitting. I knew how to knit and purl and cast, not even long tail cast on, but just basic cast on. So I've learned a lot, and I will continue to learn a lot, because I know that knitting socks does not give me all the skills I need to learn. So, but I have learned a ton. I don't know if I would recommend socks as your first like actual project besides like half a scarf, but you know, you win some, you lose some. I had probably 30 failed knit socks. Either I knit them too small, I had a really hard time figuring out how to do the heel. So sometimes I would get far and then get to the heel and couldn't figure out how to do the heel turn because I was slip knitting wrong. So I wasn't actually ever decreasing when I was slip knitting. I was literally just slipping them and then knitting the next stitch. So I wasn't actually decreasing, which causes a lot of problems when the whole point is to decrease. And you're, especially when you're making socks, they're kind of particular. They do need shaping, especially in the heel. So we learned a little bit, and now I can slip knit. My stitches aren't perfect when I slip knit. I do think my knit two together stitches just look a lot cleaner. Hopefully this comes with practice and more research, but at least I am decreasing when I'm slip knitting now, so bare minimum there. Let's see, what else do I want to talk about? Well, we can kind of talk about how I started knitting. I did say in September I started knitting, September of last year, so September 2024, so I have not been knitting super long. I decided I wanted to start knitting. I had knit a little bit before, but nothing serious, like I said. But crocheting started getting really hard for my wrists because you have to, like, I feel like it's a bigger range of motion. I don't know. For some reason, knitting is easier on my wrists. So I can knit for a lot longer period of time than I can crochet. And I felt like I had gotten to a point in crochet where I didn't have a ton of stuff to improve on. Like, I could probably make anything. If I had a pattern, I could probably make it. I did a lot of amigurumi mostly, and I didn't like spending a ton of time on what I was crocheting just because I wasn't creating anything that was useful, if that makes sense. And I wanted to create clothing. I got to the point where I wanted to make clothing, but I didn't love the fabric that crochet makes when you wear it. I think it looks beautiful. I love the look of crochet clothing. I don't like the feeling of it. It doesn't drape very well. It uses a ton of yarn. And I'm just not, it's just not kind of my jam. I can't stand granny squares, which I feel like a good chunk of crochet clothing is granny squares, and I am not a granny square girl. I will make like 2 or 3 and then get extremely bored and never finish it. So I decided to try knitting, and specifically socks. I found Charlotte Stone on Instagram, I think, a long time ago, and I have just always admired her socks. Like, they are insane. Her socks are beautiful. And I wanted to make some knit socks. I thought that would be so cool. And I was like, the only thing I want to learn how to knit is socks. Like, if I can just knit some socks, I will be so happy. So I started my journey. I didn't have sock yarn. I only had thicker yarn. So I tried to find like sock yarn, super, the fingering weight. Couldn't find anything fingering weight, but I did find some sport and DK weight, so I went and got those because at the time I only had worsted weight or bigger, which wouldn't have, you can make worsted weight socks, and I had practiced on some worsted weight. It just wasn't, I don't know, it just wasn't working for me. So I finally purchased some actual sock yarn, and I think what made me to be able to knit a sock is getting these ChiaoGoo shorties. They are really expensive, and at the time I had a job, so I could afford it, but I couldn't figure out how to do Magic Circle. I now am fine with Magic Circle, but I had a hard time with Magic Circle at the start. I had a hard time finding a size that would fit me. I just struggled overall to just be able to read a pattern and figure it out. because of course it is my first like actual thing I was making, besides a scarf, which you just cast on however many stitches you want and knit and purl for as long as you want the scarf. You don't need a pattern for a super basic scarf. I'm sure there's plenty of like awesome patterns for scarves, and I've seen awesome patterns for scarves, but the kinds of scarves I was knitting, you did not need a pattern. And I did a ton of research, watched a ton of YouTube videos, and found Summer Lee, who knits, I think, mostly socks. I don't know if she really knits much else other than socks, but she does love her socks. And she had a free vanilla sock pattern called the I'm So Basic socks, and I decided, you know what, I'm gonna try these, because my first socks I tried doing basic socks, I just couldn't get it. So finally I found the Summer Lee's I'm So Basic sock and downloaded the pattern. I followed the pattern as well as some of her video tutorials, which I'll still reference from time to time. Mostly when I just turn the heel, I'll make sure I'm doing it right, but I don't even know if I'll need that for this sock. This is my 4th sock I've knit so far. So she's honestly great. Her designs are super cute. My first socks are just plain. I didn't want to do color work because it's already hard enough to get the socks to fit you, and I just needed to figure out how to like knit the socks before I'm adding more techniques. So these are my first color work socks. Hopefully the second sock fits. I don't know. You never know until later, and I can't really try it on until I switch to my other needles to do the heel. So we'll see. I probably should have put a lifeline in above so I didn't have to reknit the cuff and everything if I mess up. So I guess we'll see. We'll see when we get there. But I found that pattern and I decided to try it, and I made my first actual pair of socks, and I was super proud of myself. Then after that, I knit the hair bow for my mom for Mother's Day. I'll have to put a picture here as well as the pattern info, pattern name and designer, because I can't think of it off the top of my head. But I was able to knit that, and then I'm working on my second pair of socks. So yeah, I've been learning a ton, having a lot of fun with it. I love being able to like wear my finished product. I think that is so cool. But I also just find knitting super therapeutic. Along the way, about a month after I started knitting, I got super sick. Unfortunately, I was diagnosed with endometriosis on top of my other chronic stuff. It just piles up. I also have POTS. So the second I started like kind of getting my feet under me and figuring out what triggers my POTS and how to like take care of myself a little bit better with that condition, once I finally was like, okay, I'm not passing out all the time, I'm kind of figuring this out, I got endometriosis. So I was just crippled in pain. It was so bad. I could barely sit up. I couldn't work. It was terrible. So I ended up having to do surgery. I brought my socks to the surgery room to knit, not like to the pre-room before they pull you into the actual surgery room, but I was knitting and it was just became something very calming for me, and something grounding, and something just to distract me from all the pain I was in. I can't really go and run around and do crazy things because 1, I was in a ton of pain, still am, and 2, I had POTS, so it just like amplified everything, and it was just really hard to do most things, but I still needed an outlet to be creative. And this, as you can see, is something you can do in bed. And just it's relaxing, and it's just very therapeutic for me. So after my surgery, I kind of had to take a break for a little bit because recovery was really, really rough. It didn't help me like we wanted it to, unfortunately. But I'm doing slightly better. I don't know. I'm feeling like I'm starting to decline again. I need to go to another doctor and see what we're gonna do. But we decided I've just been using knitting as my outlet, especially while I've been dealing with POTS and endometriosis. It's just been a rough go for me for a while. So I've been really grateful for knitting to have this outlet to help calm me down and to just give me something that I can do with my hands, because I always am like someone that wants to be doing something with my hands. And that isn't as easy as you would think it would be when you're stuck in bed all the time. I am improving. I'm not completely stuck in bed, but nighttime I am basically stuck to my heating pad from 4 o'clock on. I'm in a lot of pain, so knitting has kind of been my lifeline, and that's why I started trying to share it with other people. I unfortunately got let go from my job after my surgery. Not because of the surgery, they just let go of everyone because they outsourced our job to India, unfortunately. So I was working in accounting, and I was working from home, so I was able to still work. But now I am just searching for a work from home job I can do, obviously from home, because my health stuff just makes it really hard for me to consistently go to work, like physically go to work, especially where I was passing out so often in the summer, and anytime it's warm, I pass out. I've gotten better with medication, but it's still a chance, and I still will feel gross. And I don't drive if I don't feel good that day. In my job, I had a different job when I first got diagnosed with POTS, and I was driving 30 minutes there and then 30 minutes back, and I had to quit because I couldn't drive, and then I got rid of my car because I shouldn't be driving very often, and I do really limit the amount that I drive, and I only drive on good days. But yeah, I don't have a car, so I can't get to work, and it's not really that safe for me to be driving super often. So I don't know, I'm kind of stuck in a corner right now trying to find a job, but I've applied to hundreds, and it's really hard to get a remote job. I don't know how I did. The only reason I was able to get it in the first place was because they were originally located in my city, and I had worked with that company previously before they went remote. So they had already knew me at the time. So yeah, just been applying to everything online, and in the meantime, just been enjoying my knitting. And I decided, since I'm home and bored all day, I'll start recording videos, because why not? I'm enjoying my knitting, I'm having a lot of fun with it, and why not share it with other people, and maybe I can help someone through their hard time that they are using knitting to kind of help flip them through it, because I am really passionate about it. I know I haven't knitted a ton, but it has helped me through some rough things. It did take me quite a while to knit my first pair of socks. It did take me until April. I don't know. It took a really long time. I took a break in between while I was recovering from the surgery because it was rough. It's been a rough go for the last couple of years for me. So I'm really happy to have found knitting that I am able to do something creative without having to push my body too hard. Yeah, it's been really something special for me. So, if you want to share how you got into knitting, like, just let me know, because I think the knitting stories are cool. Even if you're like, I saw a pair of socks, because like Charlotte Stone, her socks are beautiful. I saw hers on Instagram, followed her way before I knitted, and that's the reason I picked up the knitting needles to knit socks. She was my main inspiration, and I'm planning on knitting a pair of her a pattern from her relatively soon, hopefully. I have her first book. I don't remember if it's Joyful Colorwork Socks or I forgot the name. But I do own one of her books. I want the second one, but again, don't have a job, so I'm not spending money at the moment. But I'm having fun, so I've just been knitting. I got the Colorwork Cuff Club before I had lost my job as well, so I've just been grateful that I got some supplies to be able to knit before I quit, and I'm grateful that I have a little stash to work out of for now until I find something for me. And yeah, I've been having a ton of fun with this. It is so fun. I love being able to create something custom. I have really, really hard feet to fit shoes to, let alone socks. Socks are a little bit easier, but I have to be careful because I'll get blisters because they like squish my toes a little bit. I have really wide feet, and I also have really thick feet, so it is hard to find footwear that works for me. So knitting my own socks also is just perfect for that reason. I've been knitting the size large in the Summerlee's patterns, so it's 72 stitches. For the color work, I increased to be 80, and then once I do the heel and the gusset, after I do that part, I'll decrease back to the 72 stitches for the foot on the gusset. So yeah, I did that wrong. I read the instructions wrong, but it's still making a sock. So I cast on 72, did the ribbing in 72, increased in the last round of the cuff, then 280. So I increased 8 in the last round of the cuff, and then yeah, and I'm knitting the leg in 80 stitches. Will decrease back down in the gusset. So that's why I'm still using my 2.5 millimeter needles. The other one fits great. I won't know if this one fits until I switch to my bigger needles for the heel, but it seems fine. Like, she seems like she'll fit, so we'll see. You never know until you try it on, which is one of my biggest tips that I've learned in knitting is try it on. Especially with socks, try it on, because I attempted to color work one time before these socks, and they were really cute. They were geese. No, they didn't work. They were too tight. Which one, I didn't increase the stitches, and I didn't increase the size of my needles. So no matter what, they were going to be tight just because they need. Color work does make an item a little bit tighter. So I should have known that, but I was also too new to knitting to even know that. So, you win some, you lose some. But I've just been enjoying the process and having a lot of fun. I don't know how many times I've said that. Probably too many. But yeah. I'm excited to do my first bigger project. I probably still will have a pair of socks on the needles because socks are kind of my comfort project. At least so far they have been really comforting. So I probably will have a big project as well as my sock project. I so far have been a monogamous knitter. I don't know how long that will last. I think I might just have one big project and my socks at all times so that I can kind of choose between if I want something big, something small. And then socks are just so portable. Like, I'll bring just my knitting bag with me in the car, and it is perfect. I'll have to show you guys what's in my knitting bag one day. I don't have like anything crazy in there, but this is my bag itself. I'll show you here. I think it's supposed to be a pencil case. I can't remember if it's a pencil case or a makeup case, but it zips up and I am able to keep like everything in here. My socks, I'll keep my yarn, my socks, everything, and I'll just carry it around in that. For my bigger projects, I'll probably have to get a project bag or a tote bag. I just don't have any big projects yet, so I'm excited to try it. I pretty sure my first sweater, I'll do the step-by-step sweater by Florence, but I am not 100% sure on what my first project's gonna be, just because it is summer and I don't know if I need to make a sweater in the summer. I'm not sure. So far I've just been knitting some socks. I'll probably do, I don't know, I'm thinking about trying a Charlotte Stone sock knitting pattern next. We'll see what I decide. I'm not sure. I don't have a ton of, like, I have a bunch of sock yarn, but they're all in 50-gram balls, and usually I only have 2 of one other color, so I'm gonna have to be creative. I think I can make, my socks are usually around this height. Like, I don't make super tall socks, luckily, so I'm thinking if I just knit the heel, toe, and cuff in a contrast color, I should be fine with the 50 grams. I was really close to knitting both my socks in 50 grams from my first pair that I did, but I am not, it didn't quite get there, but I also knitted the cuffs in the same color as the majority, so I think I would be safe if I knit the cuffs knit cuffs, heels, and toes in a contrasting color. But then I didn't have color work on them, and color work uses more yarn because of the floats, so I'd have to, I don't know. I've been thinking. I don't know. I do have 2 balls of red yarn, so I think my plan with it was to do some sort of strawberry sock, which I could still do with the red, or like a heart sock would be cute too. Like a white and red sock I think would be really cute with hearts on it. I think I saw someone's pattern that I really liked. I don't know. I have an idea. So those will probably be my next socks. We'll see. Hi. So one of my favorite things about socks is that I can reference the first sock that I knit to the second one so that they're similar. So I always carry around the first sock as reference for my second sock. So I lay them against each other to make sure that like my cuffs are knit a similar length as well as my like leg. Pretty much I just use my first as a reference to see how much I need to knit for my second. So when this is rolled out, I might need to go, I don't know. It looks pretty close to the same length as the leg, so I might finish around, maybe do an extra row or 2 just to be safe, and then move on to the heel, which is probably, I don't know, the gusset is definitely my least favorite.